Darren, as you well know, you can bring the moose on. Let's get that nice face on the camera. We got to spend it, like I said, some of our American viewers say, you'll lose me when you talk about the CFL. But this is a life thing, this Cody Fajardo thing that just isn't going away. Quarterback of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, former Oakland Raider for a time, Cody Fajardo, star with the Nevada Wolfpack, called out his receivers after Saturday's game. Saskatchewan lost at Calgary 23-17, and to paraphrase, said they had an absence of game breakers, playmakers, I believe is the way I took it, and you agree. So there's a lot of comments coming in. It's my commentary today on Cat Country 98 FM and Rock 98.5 FM. You can read it at rodpedersen.com. And these Americans just getting introduced to rodpedersen.com too, by the way, Darren. 33 million people can't be wrong. 2-time blog of the year in Canada, rodpedersen.com. Anyways, commenter here from Scott Thompson. He says the only thing that made it necessary, the apology, because Cody apologized Tuesday. Scott says it's because he called him out in the media instead of the locker room. I'm sure it was appreciated by his teammates. This could be a galvanizing moment for the team. I'll be attending Saturday's game in person. I'm sure it's going to be a beauty. The two teams meet again Saturday at Mosaic Stadium in Saskatchewan. The way he says that, I've been thinking about it too. It could galvanize the team. It could completely destroy the team too. What do you think?
We have no idea. And we have no idea how this was handled internally, how this was handled in the locker room. But all we can look at is, gather the information we have. We know what kind of guy Cody is. We've got a pretty good idea. You better than most. We know how he handles himself, and he had an emotional moment in the media, So I would assess it this way and say, look, he's probably done what he needs to do in that locker room and made sure he's good with his teammates. If he's not going to be able to go out there and lead them to any sort of victory, let alone a championship or playoffs or anything like that. So I'm sure he's good and they're all fine. This could bring them together. But you're right. All it takes is a couple of unhappy players to kind of start pulling at the threads of that locker room chemistry, and it could go the other way. But I think it probably pulls them together. I think they probably get on the same page here. I think that's the way it would be handled internally. And you know what? You want a guy who's emotional and who is fired up, leading you, and that's what Cody is. He's the guy who wears his heart on his sleeve a little bit, and you know where he stands.
Well, I could honestly sit and talk about this all day. I have had multiple one-on-one talks with Cody Fajardo about all kinds of things, and life being one of them, football. And when those media people from across the CFL were blowing up my phone last night, interrupting me watching the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning, I might add, I said it's a little out of character for Cody. Because I'm a heart-on-the-sleeve kind of guy. I'm a God guy. When I lose it on this show, a lot of it's just for entertainment. So let's be honest. But I guess I've called out people on our staff. I have, now that I think about it. But it's never personal. And when we started this show 586 episodes ago, sometimes I pulled some of our staff aside and I said, listen, you've been in sports. This is heat-of-the-moment stuff. Don't take it personally. Now that I think about it, that's exactly what Cody's done. It was a heat-of-the-moment thing. And by the way, I wasn't going to take back what I said then, and I don't think Cody should have had to take it back Tuesday with an apology. So when you said, who knows what's going on behind the scenes, that's what I put in my commentary. Who got to Cody? Who said, you better apologize because you hurt some of your teammates' feelings? That's what I think happened. And I'm kind of disappointed if that's what happened.
Yeah, and I do think there's a lot of the fan base involved in this. We see some of the negative stuff that's happened in social. And you go back a couple of weeks ago to Cody, talking about the criticism that they've seen on social and how it affects them and how they're humans too. I think this is a little bit of that too. I think he sees some of that, negativity on social media. And maybe it was somebody in the office, the front office, that saw the negativity and went to Cody and says, look you should make a statement. But I think he feels a little bit of that obligation to the fans. He doesn't really owe them anything. He's the quarterback. He owes his teammates and, the organization, and he owes the fans a little bit, I guess. He feels that personal responsibility. I think it was more about the fan base and just saying, look, we're good. And don't think that I don't have good relationships or like my guys, because they're a family, and that's how Cody treats it. So I think it was a lot about that, too. And, I think they'd like to put this behind him as fast as they can.
I said it yesterday. It's not behind them. I'm sure they'd like to put it behind them, but it's not behind them. But I said it yesterday. It's heat of the moment stuff. He's a winner. This is what winners do. And you can't put a saddle on a Mustang. And they're putting a saddle on a Mustang. Let Cody be Cody. Oh, boy. The fit is hitting the shan on this Brock Sunderland thing, by the way. I have told you my phone's been going off like crazy
for
the last
3 down?
48 hours. Right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I just saw that in the commercial break.
One of the writers said, stay tuned. Something's coming down the pipe here. And this is what do you call it? Cross section or transcends football. General manager Brock Sunderland of the Edmonton Elks banned Joey Moss from the Edmonton locker room. Joey Moss is the beloved, he's not with us anymore, unfortunately, the beloved locker room attendant of the Edmonton Oilers and for the Edmonton Eskimos forever. And the story was Wayne Gretzky dated Joey's sister. That was what introduced Joey to the Edmonton sports scene back in the 80s. Brock Sunderland banned Joey Moss. What's going to be done about this? Because I think we talk about the pendulum swinging back. Eddie Steele getting fired for saying the truth. And now this. I feel like the torches are out in the pitchfork mob, and they're not going to settle for good people being lit on fire in Edmonton. Because a lot of them have.
We got a new poll question.
Go ahead.
And it's who's in a worse situation, Brock Sunderland or Urban Meyer, right? Because it looks like they're both
How about that?
Not in a good spot right now. And, I don't know the inner workings of what's going on in Edmonton, but I can see the publicity and the narrative, and the narrative's not good. Joey Moss is a fixture in Edmonton. They love, to this day, they still love him. Obviously, they miss him. But this is, whether he did it for reasons that were going to help the team or not help, doesn't matter. It's not looking good on Brock Sunderland, unfortunately, and I don't know how you come out of it.
Well, Eddie lost his job. Dwayne Mandrusiak lost his job. Joey Moss banned from the locker room. Listen, I know all these things. People have been saying, Rod, you should report this. You should report that. I'm like, it's not my team. It's not my scoop to break. But now somebody's lifted the carpet in Edmonton and shone a light under there. It don't look too good. Wasn't my job to do it. Now here we go. Check my what? Oh, Drager did? Okay, just a couple quick text messages before we break. And Dregs will appreciate this as the staunch Saskatchewan Roughrider fan that he is. And the Rider Nation incensed this week with Cody Fajardo calling out his receivers after Saturday's loss in Calgary and then subsequently apologizing on Tuesday. Leonard writes in from the 536, if Cody is not a perfect quarterback, then you do not throw any member of your team under the bus, and the apology was appropriate. From Metal Shingle Guy writing in from the 306, Cody needed to clear the air. He walked off like a baby, Rod. Not a good look. Well, again, Cody's my guy. Can't do anything wrong in my books. And will this drama carry over into Saturday's game? Probably. Moose, we'll see you back here for overtime.
You betcha.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of The Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.